All right, Joel, Kathy, so what's new? I know it's been about a year, almost 2 years since we had put your policies in place.
Yeah, about the same stuff. We're, trying to coast down, get out of the rat race, try to enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah, it's just doing a little bit more traveling these days in the RV.
Yeah, we love to do that. We try to go several months or
About 5-6 months.
half the year.
On the road. Where do you guys like to travel most?
Well, we travel back and forth from home, of course, where we were from in Louisiana. And,
And the kids. Kids are in Texas.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
go to Arkansas. It's pretty nice weather up there part of the year, so
And
summertime.
he likes to hunt up there.
Well, and that makes sense then.
Mhm.
So it's good that you have the RV. It just kind of gives you your mobile hunting station.
Right.
Well, so we had originally put in some life insurance for you guys. And I told you on the phone I wanted to come by and have a quick visit with you just to talk about a couple things that we didn't have available when we first met with you. And so I do want to thank you for the time this morning. Let me ask you a quick question. Are you guys going to be buried or cremated?
Well, we've kicked that around. We're thinking cremation.
Thinking cremation? Okay. And why do you want to be cremated? Is there any particular reason?
Well, it'll just save expenses for one thing.
Okay.
And, how you have to buy a plot to be buried in and all that stuff. And it puts a lot of pressure on everybody that's left here too. I've went through it, so has she, so.
We don't want a lot of expense for the kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really don't.
You want the money from the life insurance left behind, you want them to actually be able to utilize that
Right.
for everything except for an exorbitant funeral.
Right.
So you guys don't want the Elvis Presley funeral.
No.
So I don't care how decorative the box is, it's still going in the ground.
Yes, you know what, I mean, and you guys are right where the majority of Americans are. Did you know that for the first time in history last year, cremation on a nationwide level has eclipsed burial? It's now 54%.
Wow.
And in the next 12 years, I think by 2030, over 75% of the nation, excluding Mississippi, but 75% of the nation is going to be cremation focused. And the interesting thing is it's because of all the things you just mentioned. It's more flexible, it's less expensive, and most people just don't want to spend the money, and especially if you're traveling around a lot,
Yeah.
it gives you a lot of freedom. So it sounds like you guys have put some thought into this. Let me ask you a question regarding your cremation. First of all, have you put anything in place as of yet to take care of the expenses that are going to come due at the time of passing?
No, we've just kind of considered the life insurance policy as part of coverage of that and leave the kids something, but no, we haven't.
Okay. Let me ask you guys another simple question. Do you know when your death benefit for your life insurance that we put in place actually pays out?
No, we just always considered when you die, it'd be taken care of.
Well, that makes sense. And it does pay out when you die. More specifically, do you know when the actual death benefit is paid to the beneficiary?
No.
Is it when there's a certificate or something?
Exactly, when the death certificate's issued. And it makes sense because the life insurance companies we want the life insurance companies to pay hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to us, and they just want to actually verify that you passed away before they start doling out hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars.
Right.
So that's great, and there's no knock on the insurance industry as a result, but what is due at the moment of passing? Money to pay for your cremation services.
Right.
And so that can cost, a couple thousand or, $5, $6, $7, $8, $10,000 depending on what kind of a service you want to accompany it. But either way, there is still money that is due to the funeral home immediately upon passing. Right? And so that is just an undue burden that we don't want to pass to our kids. The next issue with that is, do your children even know what your specific benefits are or wishes are?
No.
And I'll tell you, we lost my grandfather over the summer. Now, I come from an Italian family, so we're a little bit more fiery than most. But when my grandfather passed away in the hospital, there was my father and my uncle and my aunt, and he retold the story as witnessing my aunt and my uncle literally dropping 4-letter expletives in an argument over did he want to be buried or did he want to be cremated. And while it's a silly example and it does strike a chord to my family, it's more common than you think.
It is.
Most kids, they think their mom and dad want something, but they don't know. If you've got multiple children, the favorite wants to give them the Elvis funeral. The least favorite says, who cares, just give me the money, and the middle one is stuck in the middle, right? So it's really good to consider some of your pre-arrangement options. And have you even considered or ever thought, or did you even know that there was an opportunity to pre-arrange your cremations while you're alive so that we can have a logical, mathematical conversation about something so that neither of you or your children, God forbid something happens to you at the same time, are put into a situation with a professional upseller called a funeral director and forcing them into an emotional conversation about something they may not even know what your exact wishes were, and the next thing you know, they're being told, Joel really would like these antler handles on the casket for an extra $2,000. And we laugh at it, but that is what is happening during the course of the sale. And that's not a knock on the funeral industry. Funeral homeowners have to make a living. But my question for you today is, would you consider spending a couple minutes having a logical, kind of lighthearted conversation about your end-of-life planning so that you or your loved ones don't have to get into a high-pressure emotional sale at the time when nobody needs to be making decisions?
Sounds like it would, just leave a lot of stress out of a very stressful time.
Well said.
We've talked about this, about going which way, whether the funeral or cremation. We've both decided the cremation sounds better.
Okay.
We know how the funeral home arrangements go, that we could do a pre-arranged funeral for thousands of dollars, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And we've kind of held off from that because that's a lot of expense even now to try to take on.
Yeah,
and,
about $4,000 or $5,000.
And we've always assumed that our life insurance, would be used to pay. But yes, we'd like to hear more about this.
Okay.